This is the first live that we are going for today. This is something we're purely doing as an experiment, so bear with me. I have no idea how it's going to go, how successful, how not. So any comments, just let me know, guys. This is hopefully something, I think we can add this as a video after as well, so anybody that misses these should hopefully be able to catch in. As I said, it's the very first one, so I'm not sure how this is going to go, and things like camera angles we're obviously still going to be getting there with, so definitely sorry in advance. Now this one today is the Metcalfe Fire Station building. This is something that's very prominent, again a nod to Rob's dad. Now I made a little bit of a boo-boo when ordering. I'd ended up, instead of buying the O gauge, double O gauge one initially, I actually ended up buying the N gauge one to start with. As you can see, just from the kit sizes themselves, it's an incredible difference, isn't it? So we've built this one. John's actually using it. He uses N gauge, so he's let me do this one for him just as a practice as well, because I've never done one of these kits. Before I start building again, I have to say just how impressed I am with them. You know, just how solid they are. This is something that's going to sit in your layout, isn't it? But occasionally you might get knocked. But even in, say, like the tower, there is additional supports in here. And it's just a brilliant little kit. So we've done this just as a way. We're thinking, again, anyone new, someone who maybe hasn't looked at this kit or any of the kits before, it just also gives you a proper little look at them in person. You don't always see the tutorial, so this is a way to maybe help people looking, or some people might just like to watch and with interest and see how it goes. So here we've got all our different pieces. It's a crazy difference from the N gauge and how they were on the size of these compared to these ones. You've got all your different bits. You've then got your additional supports in here. This is again part of the main kit. You've got your window transfers here. There's quite a lot to build it up. I'm hoping after doing one now, this one should be a bit quicker. And I've noticed we've had quite a few people popping in, so hello, it's lovely to see you. Anybody want to drop a comment, we'd be happy to say hello. Especially, it helps us also test it out, so feel free to comment along or any tips. And I'm just getting it all sorted out here. The reason I've done this for people who know the kit, it's purely so someone who hasn't seen the kit before can see actually all the contents and what's a part of it. So everything is here what we're going to need. As I said, that's our little fire station in the back. We can see already it's going to be a heck of a lot bigger. So thank you. I can see someone's put a like. I don't know how I see comments on this. As I said, this is completely new. I have got it on the computer, but if anybody can drop a message in the chat just so we can test this out, it would be appreciated. And here we've got our instructions. Book of instructions, as they say, isn't it? Now, a couple of things I've used. It does say, you know, a sharp knife. This one's I use, and I always put a brand new blade on for it, just so you've got that sharp edge. Pair of tweezers. It can get fiddly. Hopefully not as badly as on N gauge, but they were well used. The only thing different I've done is it does recommend the smaller bottles for glue. I do have my little applicator ones here, but I found I'm used to working with paintbrushes, so I was actually using a paintbrush for mine. So anybody, you see the instructions, if you have a tool that works for you, honestly, use whichever tools work best for you. I've gone with PVA glue. It does say you can use super glue, but the reason I've gone from a PVA is just, again, it'll be my second kit. So if you get anything a little bit wrong, you can always then quickly move it, where super glue, you've got less chance of being able to repair it. It also recommends watercolours. I didn't on this kit, but you can go and paint the edges. This little one I will do a video on. I am going to have a practice with this one actually weathering it. As I said, it's something John will be using on his layout, not as a fire station, but it's given me a chance to have a play before we do it on our own kits. It's not the being an end all for his, where for us, as I said, the nod to Rob's dad's, it's a very important piece for us, especially the scene we're hopefully going to build. But for anybody who's never seen it before, the instructions are pretty clear. It took me a while to get my head around it, but once you get used to the workings out, it is pretty good to understand. You know, everything is labelled in here. So the first thing you do is you do your windowing. So again, it's going off the cutouts of the buildings here, gluing into it. And you also have strengtheners as well. They come in later, so don't worry about the strengtheners to start off with. It's just purely going on with the windowing. As I said, it does recommend that you take everything apart. But again, for me, I found purely it was easier to keep everything on there. Connectors, otherwise you've got parts flying everywhere. The only thing I did do was keep a little box for all my already glued window bits. They are easier to just get apart and do. So, you know, this live, as I said, for anybody joining us, it is purely an experiment. Hopefully, as time goes on, we can do lives of us actually working in the shed, especially as it gets warmer. I do stray away from the cold. Rob's out there at the moment, and hopefully a few videos on what's going on there. But this is kind of filler episodes, so with the track, it won't always be videos we can do every week. But I will try and do filler episodes of things that we make, restoring buildings, things we've made later on down the line, and the farm diorama that I did. As I said, it's not all exciting, these lives, but for people that have never done it before and people that are new to it, you know, it just gives people a chance to get to know how it works. Feel free to pop in and out. And as I said, if people would like to comment, it would be appreciated to get to see that working as well. It's purely a test at this point. And the only thing I forgot about, which I think Rob actually has in the shed, is my metal ruler, which is another bit of kit you need. So I don't know if he's watching in to see how it goes. But I will just be right back, everyone. I completely forgot about that. You have your metal ruler for the linings. So just stick with me, guys. And I will return in a minute or two. There we go, guys. I'm just returning. I'm so sorry about that. I suppose another lesson in the line of making sure you've got everything before you start. As I said, we are hoping to upload this. So if people, you know, don't get the chance to see our lives and want to view them later, the option is there. We're not always doing this and expecting everybody to be in at the same time. But we are hoping we can get things going. As I said, I'm hoping this one will be a lot quicker for me because I've already done it. So I am quite lucky in doing this kit. I already know how it goes together, and hopefully for everybody else's sake, you're not watching me just faffing about and trying to figure it out. I just can't get over the big difference in the sheer size of the kits. You know, you see the comparisons, and it's only when you put them together. But even just the doors, it's if you look at the front doors here on the end gauge, for anybody again that's new, some of these, I know some of you, you know, you have been in the trains for years and years. You don't need us to tell you what to do. But you look at the door of the end gauge, and then you look at the door of the fire station for the 00 gauge, and it's such a difference. So I'm really hoping this kit's going to be far easier to do, which also hopefully should be a bit quicker as well. You know, as I said, the added benefit, I've already done it, but the sheer size, so it won't be as fiddly. You know, one thing we will obviously have to work out is camera placement, and so if anybody pops on or anybody watches the video after the fact, honestly, feel free to comment, guys, as we go. I'm here playing around with it now, but feel free to comment, guys, on, you know, any opinions, whether a certain camera angle, you know, part of the reason of me doing this today means we can try different angles. So it's a little bit of moving around, but please give me any things you think we could do slightly differently, work slightly different. As we've always said, we like people's input. We are just starting. We're just doing this to document along the way. Everybody does things differently. So again, if anybody picks anything up from what we do, brilliant. But if anybody wants to give tips, we can't believe how much the channel has grown from when we first started. It's gone crazy how it went. You know, so again, it's a thank you to everyone. You know, we're truly humbled by it. We know, you know, not all episodes will be the same. We had quite a lot of input just at the start of building a shed. And then we did our first layout episode, and it went from there. We've done another one of the Hornby ground suspension bridge. And yeah, it's not successful, but it's there for people to see. We just created it because we'd actually been looking, and we could not see a single proper video on the suspension bridge. You could see it in action, which again, that's brilliant in itself. But we could not see any really up close, how it looked. And that was part of the problem. So something I have thought about, and again, we can look at doing differently, is certain parts to make this a bit quicker. I could have probably cut these already, but in the same sense, I could then glue them all already, and it takes away from that live, doesn't it? Hopefully, as this builds, you know, we can gain a little community within the community. I do lives myself for my drawing, which is why Rob's asked me to do the ones for the trains. I do them with my portraits, and I've created such, well, I've not created, but, you know, by creating the live, it's opened it up for such a nice little community of people, of a lot of artists and supportive, and people as well who've put themselves down in their ability. And may not get this from this, but I know people do appreciate seeing things in progress sometimes. So yeah, anybody wants to comment, we want to try and test for featured out, and even after the live, if you want to comment just to see how it works on our side, it's all part and parcel for learning this. Hopefully we can build the channel as we go. And that's all thanks to the support of all of you. One thing, these are very funny to pick up, even me with nails. And again, I've just realised that the camera wasn't in view. Again, just please bear with me. It is just for practice and getting used to it. The only thing I do find you get is that little bit of shine from my light, but I've not figured out how to get rid of that on certain surfaces. Hopefully it's not appearing too bad for you guys though. Make sure you cut your line straight as well. I find especially after you've done that line, it's not as easy to keep it straight. You might have to go back in and tidy it up. However, if like here, I'm trying to get it to show now, quite hard with plastic, there is a slight difference in my plastic. I'm not sure how well you can see it. When you build these kits, this little bit of overrun shouldn't be a problem as long as these lines up with, say, your windows. You should be all right. I suppose this is a more boring one than actually building, but I hope people are enjoying the new experience of seeing me having to faff around. Any comments would be appreciated. As I said, it is purely, even just hello helps us test out features, how it appears, because I don't even know if someone comments if it shows up on my phone or if I need the computer open with it playing. So what we're going to do here is, well, we're going to kind of skip ahead a little bit, just so you're not seeing me constantly cutting, because it does take a bit of time. Is we're going to build some of these up already. It's kind of skipping a step, but it isn't, because it does recommend to do all of these and all your sticking first. And weirdly enough, I have noticed with your 00 gauge, these colours are actual colours, but on the N gauge, they're black and white. Now, it worked out fine for me, the black and white. You have the picture references in the instructions, so it is not a problem. But it would be interesting to know if other N gauge kits are the same, because I've literally just realised their colour and N gauge weren't. So it's just interesting, you learn something new every day. Although you know what they said about the cat. What we've got here, front door, garage doors. The other thing that I have actually just noticed with this kit compared to the smaller kit, again, possibly because of detail when they are so tiny, the N gauge doesn't actually include these storage lockers. Whether it's down purely to size, but that is something that isn't on the N gauge. So finding out, there is going to be a few differences on the kit, but it shouldn't be too bad to deal with. It's, you know, nothing completely out there. It's not building a completely different kit. So thank you guys for liking the live. If anybody, please feel free to comment. We really want to test this out. I hope it is that the comments are working. If they are, I've just found a section for live chat and top chat. So if anybody wants to chat, then please, losing my voice here, please drop a chat. It might be because this computer isn't signed in, so I'm just going to try it on my phone, but just comment. So if people are commenting, then I do apologise. I don't want to ignore any comments. Let's just mute that there. There isn't anything showing, but yeah, I think we would rather show you the human side. Things aren't straightforward and don't always go straight away, so it is all a process. But I've noticed on things like TikTok, you have started getting people, there's someone on there that makes these kits and does all sorts of dioramas and dioramas, and you know, it can be interesting to watch just as much as drawings. Only problem with these kits is you're looking for something and you've just got to find it. I'm looking for the front door here, but I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Because the only problem with it being such a bigger kit is you really have to try and look for all the different bits. At least the smaller one, it was all out in front of me and it was pretty easy to see. So making sure you have plenty of space, I would say, is quite an important one. As I said, I am struggling. You guys are probably sitting there watching it, or when you watch this back, possibly looking at the one I want. But at this point in time, I can't see it. As I said, there is just no room. But the reason I know which one it is you have your indentations for it. It'll probably be on the last sheet I look at. No, I'm being absolutely blind today. Well, we can do a different one, and I'm sure then it will come back to us when we need it. There was me saying it would be a fairly simple task, but now actually looking at it, because everything is laid out differently, you do have to think about it. Right, garage upper we're looking for here. Garage upper. We've got the outer, we've got... It's interesting, I am struggling to find every single one that I need. There was me trying to make this a quicker process for you. It's not gone very well, is it? Now, the one thing I did find when doing these is there is two front doors. You've got the option of the red front door for the fire station or a plain white door. So sometimes getting it out is handy, because then you can make sure you're not wasting your time doing one you don't need to do. If anybody has gone live before and know the settings, I know due to our channel being so new and not as many subscribers, there is different parts that you can get when you first start compared to when you've got those amount of subscribers. So I've actually seen one right now that we can do. I'm just putting these over here. You don't want to lose them. While the end gauge came with a slight bit of the plastic, I have not noticed that in the bigger kits, as I said. So there are slight differences between the N and the 00 gauge. So if you've got a straight hand, then feel free to just cut it along the line. It is indented, so it is pretty easy. But if you feel you've got an unsteady hand, I would recommend using your ruler at this part as well. So we're going to focus on this break room window. And again, you have your indentations. These just pop out. And then you can place your windows in behind. The indentations in these aren't always perfect to just pop out. So you just have to be very careful that on behind it's not the end of the world if you catch some of the previous material. Like here, you can't actually see it, and it doesn't really change the integrity of this and the strength. But again, using your blade just to tidy up. Like here as well. That blade, just to do that bit of tidy up, but be extremely careful. There's nothing worse than trying to tidy up and making it worse, is there? So a lot of these say line up before you start, but it's impossible really to line it up and glue it and get it back in exactly the same place. This is the reason I actually prefer using PVA glue, because initially when you glue down, you do have that minute or two that you can still move it. It bonds pretty quickly, but you do have that little bit of time. The other thing I like to do is actually glue on the, rather than the plastic, on the actual cardboard itself. But I always try and have a look, because I don't want to over glue, but if you do, it's not the end of the world. Again, being PVA, it will dry clear. But I find doing it on here avoids it really overspilling onto the plastic windows. Just be careful around your edges so it doesn't come out while you're pressing it down. I did do that on one of the first ones. And depending on your glue, it might not dry clear. Again, this is down to everyone which you want to use. As I said, it suggests one of the bottle applicators. I just prefer a brush. I'm used to working with brushes and pencils and things, so for me, I just preferred using the brush to go in. A comment. There we go. So we know that works as well. As I said, for anybody just joining us now, or I'm sorry for those of you who are watching this back, because there may be a few repeats of things, but that is just, unfortunately, I am sorry. But for people just joining us, they might not know why certain things are being done. You know, we're purely doing this. I'm doing it anyway. It's one of those things. So if people want to watch in, they can. If they want to watch it back. You know, myself and Rob, we like some of those videos that you just watch processes of things. Now, I really don't think I'm going to need the tweezers on this as bad as the end gauge. It's actually a far easier. Maybe because I've done a smaller kit going to a bigger kit. But just making sure with that glue while it's drying and before you really press it down is getting that lining all lined up. As you can see, I've not really got any excess glue that's come through. I did on my end gauge one. As I said, it was purely for learning. And as you can see, I have gone over with my glue here, but it will just dry clear and it won't affect the rest of the kit build. So I'm really happy with that one. It's a lot less fiddly than end gauge for sure. But I must say these are difficult to pick up. So if you can try and you're building, just bring it to your edge. And which one are we looking for? Break side room. I think we're going to do another one of the break side rooms. Yeah, it does surprise me how fiddly these can be though, and it's not a quick process. Doing one has given me that appreciation. As I said, I'm hoping I'm a bit quicker with this kit because I've done it before, just in smaller gauge. And other than one or two different stickers, it seems to be pretty much the same kits. But hopefully this video will come in use for, even if people just want to see how the kits look, how they are to build together. This is just, we want to try and help people that, same as us, we're still quite new, but you never know, in a couple of years when we're further along, people might come across these videos. And no, it's, you know, you just learn as you go. And I have to say, the model railway community itself is very good. There's a few pages on Facebook with these communities. I think model railway enthusiasts. There's a few different pages, but if you just type in your keywords, you'll get a few groups. As I said, we've asked a couple of questions already and people have been really helpful with it. So we are grateful for that model railway community. And certain parts, your dioramas and things, it's not even necessarily just model railers that can help. You know, I see quite a few on YouTube since we started watching. We do get a lot of recommendations. Seen all sorts from old battleships and, you know, some of the models, I can't think what they're called. They're like, not sci-fi, but there is a community of people that does this as well. So if you're not on Facebook as well, you know, we can always drop us a comment. And if we don't know, maybe someone else in the community that's across our page will be able to give you the answer, or we can maybe ask for you if you're not on Facebook. You know, it's just all part of helping each other, isn't it? Because we appreciate not everyone is into Facebook. Yeah, but there's no point being stuck and giving up hope on something that might be an answer. I've had it before. You're really stuck on something and you can't really, it's just not working in your brain, is it? Someone else comes in and says it and you think, well, that was so simple. Just sometimes the brain does not want to compute, does it? Now, with these lives, I don't know if we're going to get on every time I'm building. This might be the kit because it's not needed straight away. It might be something that we can just build throughout these lives. It all depends if they're really, you know, if people like them, we can make sure we do more for you. As you can see there, I've just gone in with my blade. It is a steady hand needed, but just clearing up that big chunk of glue there. But if you go over, and I suppose it's if your glue dries quite, oh, what's the word? It's not matte, it's like a varnish look. There is matte varnish paint you can buy. I've got it in my own kit of stuff, but it is something you can buy just to try and help not show those mistakes without having to take it all apart and start again. Now, these doors here, these are laser cut, but they aren't all the way through that you have to cut. They're just little indentations. For these, there's just a few of them. And I've just realised this is where the door is hidden as well. These are what are going to become our fire doors. Actually, bend in half again, giving you that extra support and strength. These are actually the last things to be added onto the kits, and you do have the option to not include them, you know, include them at half. And so these actually bend as well to give you that extra thickness. Again, as I said, these kits are very supportive. So I suppose, because I've gone over, I'm just going to check I don't go over. I always try and line up before. I can't guarantee every time it will work, but it just gives me a rough idea of what to expect, especially later on in the kit. Some of the bits you do need to make sure are in a certain position, especially for the floors. Something I did learn from the N-gauge kit was the doorways and things. He is leaving a lip. Now, because I hadn't read the instructions all the way through, I mean, who does? None of us really like the instructions, do we? And it was only afterwards that I went, oh. So I had to make a few little cuts. Again, being PVA glue, I managed to just prise off a backing of one part, so I was actually able to fix it up without having to make any cuts or anything. But one of the doorways I did have to come in with a slight cut. It wasn't coloured or anything. It wasn't really seen, so it wasn't terrible. Have a look. As I said, John had said this kit was my practice, so at least I know. And I don't think it turned out too bad. I've still got to have a ridge, put my teeth in, the ridge tiles on that one. But you've already seen the difference in size, so it is definitely going to be a very fiddly job. Even trying to get those ridge tiles bent, it's not an easy task. Now, it's warm enough in here that the glue shouldn't take too long. But you always give a little bit of pressure, especially when you come to building the building up. That little bit of first pressure is what you need. The only problem with PVA, but then I suppose the same with super glue, is how quick it can dry. I will always try and just go back in to make sure that now for this part, it's if the glue comes out on this one, it's not a problem because these glue down together. But again, I'm going to glue this side because I don't really want it on the windows. Yeah, it's that difference in texture, and I suppose being a bigger gauge, it will be more noticeable. Can be a bit of a perfectionist, but I think we all can be sometimes. it would be interesting if this comes up on people's lives, even if not this one, but future ones. If you've subscribed to get notifications, I don't know if it lets you know we're going live, but it would be interesting to see how all this side of things works. So if you want to drop a comment, even if it's maybe a notification you got but you weren't around so you missed it, as I said, it's just figuring out what you guys see, what we get to see our side, especially as we go further down the line. We're hoping maybe to live stream as we're in the shed working, because sometimes it's nice to watch, see people doing these things, almost therapeutic. Now, the only thing I have noticed, especially with these ones that were on the N-gauge, is they do tend to bend a little once you've glued them. As I said, I'd noticed going back to when I made these at the start of the N-gauge kit, and at the end, and they'd warped slightly. So especially these doors of this kit, I would recommend getting under some weight until you need them. Thankfully, I've got a heavy printer, but it's definitely something, as I said, hopefully can help someone in the future, is just keeping that weight on this until it is needed. As you can see, I've actually got the N-gauge ones here. It's crazy, isn't it, when you look at the difference in the size. But these have now spent a day or two under a printer with a weight, and they have gone back straight. So even if you find you've missed this step, or you've already built the kit and noticed this, or halfway through, it is possible to straighten it up again. Just I found the longer since it's been glued, it is warping, not warping, sorry, it's a lot more fragile, a lot more brittle it feels. So I would be very careful. And the only, again, mistake I've found is I put these on top of each other. You can see it's stuck slightly and gone that way. But the handy thing is, if one side's destroyed or gets damaged, you do have the other side. They are exactly the same. So all is not lost. I think the one difference that I've got to get used to is much more glue. With the difference inside, it's funny how used you get to something. Obviously PVA is going to dry a lot quicker now, because I have a lot more to cover than I did on the smaller gauge. But I found myself even struggling with my eyesight with the smaller ones, so I think if I do any more for John, they will be getting a magnifying glass. I have a new appreciation for N-gauge after doing it anyway. Handy thing about PVA is you can literally put it in your fingers and just peel it off later. So again, I wouldn't really like to do that with the super glue. yeah, I can't get over how lovely these kits are. Especially when I was building up the Engage. Even though it's that tiny, the supports are still in there. They are such solid kits. It seems to like missing this corner, doesn't it? So again, that is my main difference, is making sure I can get everything covered to make sure there's enough glue. I've just slightly misaligned. I'm applying too much pressure there. So I think when I've done these garage doors, I will probably look at heading off. It's, you know, I appreciate not everyone's going to watch the whole video. That's absolutely fine, you know, and skip through it. Again, everybody does what they want. It's not a forced thing to do. But I think after this garage door, I will maybe do a few more parts of these by myself, so you're not watching constant gluing and sticking over windows every time. So maybe with the kits, again, please add your comments after as to what you think would be nice. Is maybe do each little bit as a stage. As it gets further on in the kit, there will be a lot more to see. Because obviously, once you've done all these fiddly bits like the windows and that, it's constant building of different sections. Where this part is really quite the boring part, I suppose, isn't it? So it's possible that I won't do this on the next live and just we'll be at the next stage by then. But if anybody is interested in these kind of stages, then please let us know in the comments. We can of course show it. I don't know how well this is going to be shown either. So again, people's comments and feedback is very much appreciated. As I said, these garage doors are very, what's the word? You have to be so careful with the alignment of these. But it seems I've had a couple of people pop in today, which is nice to see the numbers. But I'm not sure if this is any of our subscribers or new people. So if people want to comment, please feel free to. As I said, this is a total learning process for us today. But I hope those who've tuned in have enjoyed. I've got a slight amount of glue there. However, I'm not panicking at this stage because already building the kit, this can maybe go on the behind door. You know, mistakes do happen. It can't always be perfect. Wouldn't it be nice? But I will look at doing the next live with a bit more in it. I appreciate this is a more mundane task of a build. Let's add a bit more glue there. I've noticed as well, a few people have liked as they've tuned in as well. That is truly appreciated. For something that's probably not the best for a first live, but we've done it, we've got there. You know, hopefully as things go, things will get a lot smoother, a lot better. You know, so we do appreciate all the support that we've had from the start of this build, even just for clearing out of the shed. People were very happy to get in touch, even with ideas for the shed and for going forward for when we actually added the locos. So it really is appreciated, and hopefully you guys are enjoying, well guys and girls, we can't be too careful nowadays, can we? But these ones are fine compared to the doors. As I said, for some reason the doors are like a double layer, but these kits are usually fine once you've glued them down. I just pop them in a pile until they're needed. We can look at the next one, even if I just do it bit by bit instead of doing it all in one go. Again, please let me know your ideas, but instead of doing it each bit each time, is maybe I can go through building this and adding the stickers to the windows and that as we go. It's just, let us know what you think. I said, with it being a first one, we honestly don't know. So your input will be appreciated as always. As you see, we've got quite a bit to go, and we can build things up as we go, especially this first bit. You don't need any kind of build up, but further down here, you're already 2 steps in and you're already needing some of your windows. So whichever you guys think's best, let us know. But it might be possible that when we next come back to another live, maybe over the weekend, all these should hopefully be in their right bits, ready to connect to the build. But yeah, so I'm not going to drone on anymore. I want to thank everyone so much for who's joined in during the actual live. It's appreciated. As I said, we have no idea the outreach this time, or if it will build once we get more followers, or once people engage with it. It's just purely been a test. But thank you for those that have tuned in and watched, and for anybody that may see this, if we can get it uploaded. I don't know for sure at this point. Until the live is finished, I won't know the settings. But if we can, please feel free to drop a comment after the fact. You know, we love seeing comments from everyone. It's nice and keeps that community going. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you very much for getting in touch. And just a reminder, this is in a bigger scale where we should hopefully be after a few of these lives. So take care, everyone. Thank you very much.